All right, what's up, y'all? It is the 28th of June, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the one that's in the shade. That is interesting. And I'll say it like this. I was trying to put this on the other side of this thing I'm using as a tripod that's actually just a pole. And it wasn't working. I was trying for like 3 minutes probably at least. And then I put it here, and then once I did, now I'm in the shade. I didn't realize that because I actually just filmed another video right here, and I wasn't in the shade until the sun moved. Really, the earth moved around it. Anyway, this is a video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. I'm the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, Evan Strong. I might have just said that, but I got confused by the shade, so I'm gonna stand in it, okay? Weird. This is one of those videos that you can come back to regardless of where you are on any four sides of In The Image Clothing Company, with the goal being natural. And I always say the human body's just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space, okay? Check this out. Boom. Rotations. Hinges. Okay, levers, operations, it just does what it does. Yikes, talk about imbalance. Not really, I just wasn't doing it evenly. Okay, so here's the thing, that's the point, is a lot of times we don't know what's going on because we don't know where our center line is. I'll talk about each of the four sides of In The Image Clothing Company. I'll talk about where clothing sits, and then I'll get into this, okay? And we'll just make it this kind of like simple, let's look at the body as it is. A lot of people overlook the body, but we understand it as it is here, okay? And I'll get into it. So, yeah, In The Image Clothing Company, our main side here, that's what we do, is allow the human body to work. You can never train a mechanical machine to do anything besides what it was designed to do. Our bodies are designed by God in the image of Jesus Christ. That's what they are. It's just what it is. We'll get into it, okay? And we do, and we have, and that's the point of In The Image Clothing Company up until today's date, if you will, right? And going forth, meaning that's what we have already done, but I'm gonna really show it in this in a way where it's very obvious, okay? So, yeah, eating, sleeping, standing, walking, sitting, hydration, breathing, doing them all naturally. We talk about these things, really everything we do as a human being we talk about. So, yeah, the center line, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, our jaw is also in the center. It stabilizes the whole body. Earth's gravity, feet opposing the center, gripping arches inward, keeping us vertical, okay? There's a center of gravity to everything, even this pole that this little cell phone is on that I can even use as a tripod to film this video, that the shadow's coming down from. There's a center of gravity, okay? It's a mechanical machine. The body, this pole doesn't have motion or operation, so it's not a machine. But the body is a similar thing in this sense of how Earth affects it, gravity-wise, okay? So, there you go. Clothing, though, it has to stay centered, fit correct, be made from 100% natural materials. Ideally, the human body's natural, and then our bodies can just work. Otherwise, they're being altered and restricted by something physically placed onto them. There's nothing else in our lives that can alter our bodies the way that clothing can, okay? So, this is a big thing. This video, I don't know why I paused. Anyway, another fourth of us in The Image Clothing Company music. I guess this video is big. I think that's gonna be a really big video to have, this one here, to really reference back to when people don't really understand how we can do what we do and claim that there's no way you can train the body, claim that workouts are a waste of time, claim that you can't actually warm up the human being because it can only ever work activated as a whole. Well, these are all truths, and this video will be a very big help in helping people see that. Actually, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So on In The Image Clothing Company music, another one of our fourths, we show, me, up until today's date at least, sizings and setups of guitars to not alter our hands, like this, right? Yikes. The hands are essentially the shoulders, as the feet are essentially the hips. The human body can only ever work all as one. As I was just saying, anywhere any of it goes, the rest of it comes. So since there's only one way the human body could ever work, we can't alter it doing fine little motor skills playing guitar. I also place music that I've made on In The Image Clothing Company music, so check it out if you'd like. I play fingerstyle guitar. I sing, I write music, I rap, okay, wordplay. Do a lot of cool stuff with music, really, okay? Now, another fourth of us is In The Image Clothing Company podcast, where we have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. We're all human beings on the same earth. We have one God. We just discuss it as it is. We're on episode 139 as of last night. Check it out if you'd like to. It's awesome, okay? Another fourth of us in The Image Clothing Company poodles. We specialize in purebred standard poodles and let dogs stay natural. Along with breeding purebred standard poodles, registering them properly under the American Kennel Club. We advocate for registering dogs to give your dog a birth certificate. Less dogs in shelters, dogs staying at homes, breeding done properly at that point, okay? Expected litters, right? I mean, there's a lot that we need to have come from actually registering our dogs, and I talk about it where I do under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles. Poodle parade events, something we will have, okay? Getting together here in the state of Utah, the United States of America. Bring your poodles of any size and or poodle mixes of any sizes, and we'll do a lot in nature. I'll give a lot of information on letting dogs stay natural. We'll hang out, have a good time in the mountains, hikes, okay, at parks, rivers, clean the creek poodle parade events sometimes where we actually clean up the environment, okay? Trash out of rivers and things like this. Getting dogs used to environments they're not otherwise in. We do a lot, okay? So there you go. InTheImageClothingCompany.com, human being clothing, which will stay centered, fit correct, where I'll discuss in a second here, and be made from 100% natural materials. That's how we allow the body to work. That's what our clothing will always do. Also dog products, collars, leashes, harnesses, whatever else we get into, same intent. Staying centered, fit-wise, balance-wise with the weight, okay? Not altering the dogs. Yeah, bro. So, clothing for everybody has to sit in the same location, okay? If you're a man or woman, tall or short, skinny or fat, any age or from any part of the earth, any time period ever as well, and it'll never change. God is the same in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Jesus Christ is the beginning and the end. He's the designer of our bodies, designed in the image of Jesus Christ. Is where In the Image Clothing Company's company name comes from. Okay, it's just a mechanical machine we've been given for our spirit bodies legitimately to dwell within as a vessel to move across this earth that God designed for us in the 5 days before he designed us as human beings on the 6th. And then he rested on the 7th. Welcome to the Sabbath. Check out In the Image Clothing Company podcast. We discuss the gospel of Jesus Christ. Sometimes I get screaming with it a little bit. Okay. So pants need to be entirely above the hips because we can't restrict the hips. So there you go. Okay. Slightly higher in the front than the rear for the waistband angle because that's the only neutral position of our hips. Okay, posteriorly tucked activation in the body. The only way the human body could ever work, okay? Tops that we wear, the seams on top of our shoulders need to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders. Our shoulders only ever work behind our head. That's just where they connect mechanically, okay? To the base of the rear of the skull, along the spine is where the shoulders connect, okay? From the top and back part of the shoulders is where the muscles insert. It's behind the body where gravity will just drop them neutrally, okay? So, the edge seams of our shoulders need to be at the edges of the joint, just because otherwise there's not going to be functionality that can occur at the joint. It'll try to be happening where the seam is, and if it's not in the location the joint is, well, which came first, the body or the clothing? Well, the body that designed the clothing, okay? Now, two things we have as In the Image Clothing Company's prerequisites to not alter the body, because there's not always ropes in our shoes. Shoelaces, though. There's only one way to weave a rope across the top of the human foot and call it a shoelace, okay, and not alter the feet. That's what we title In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. There's so much mechanics going on in the feet, okay? A mechanical machine. We tie shoes as well. We have to tie them evenly over toward the inside on both feet. There's just two sides to the body and you're just tying a knot with one side over the other side. So it has to be equal, opposing the center, okay? There you go. Secondly, our other prerequisite is to remove all tags from clothing. They're only decades old as of today's date, and they just cause a physical gap, altering the body's only workings, and or they don't allow musculature to activate. The body can't compensate because it's all one. Everything has a role to play, and if it doesn't play the role, then everything kind of gets a little bit altered to a degree that's a lot more than a little bit, okay? So let's talk about this in a way that's just so easy to understand. If you've never even thought about the anatomy of the human body, never been told anything about how your body actually works, if you don't really know anything about musculature, you don't know anything about bones, you've never heard about like rotations in the body or whatever it is, just no knowledge, let's say. Somebody's coming into this video with none, okay, as far as how the human body works. I want this to be delivered, meaning I'm going to deliver it in a way where you'll get a pretty good understanding after this of just how the body's really only just a machine, and it's so easy to let work, okay? That's all we can do. Like I said, they just hit a home run. I heard it at the trees. You can only let the body work. You can never train it because of this, neutrals, okay? Neutral wrist, straight out from the pinky finger. Every joint in the body only has a neutral position. This finger here on my left hand, on my right collarbone here, that's what I'm doing, showing where my left hand is the same as where my left collarbone is, okay? Look at my right hand as my right shoulder goes up and down from that right collarbone, okay? The hands are essentially the shoulders. The feet are essentially the hips. You'll never get your hips to be normal if your feet are altered, okay? Okay? It's like a dance move, bro. You'll never get your shoulders to be normal if your hands are altered, okay? Look at this. The hands are the feet. Well, I'm gonna show it like this. Watch, so you can actually physically see them together. Well, no, not physically, visually. Hands are feet, wrists are ankles. Forearms are lower leg, elbows are knees. Upper arms are upper legs, and then hips are shoulders. That's how the human body is designed by God. Meaning, there's only one difference in the amount of hands bones as there are in the amount of foot bones. The neutral pinky finger is straight out from the wrist. That's where the neutral wrist is straight out from the pinky finger. The neutral foot is straight out from the pinky toe, okay? From there, you can have a neutral wrist. From the pinky finger to the wrist. From the pinky toe to the ankle, okay? And now you've got a neutral wrist. Now your forearm has rotations. You've got a neutral ankle, and your lower leg has rotations, okay? Your knee tracks in line, going the direction you're going, okay? And so you can keep everything straight. Your elbow tracks in line, going the direction you're going, so you can keep everything straight. From there, now your hips can be tucked and open, and your shoulders can be tucked and open, okay? I know I'm out of the frame a little bit, and he's on a motorcycle. But this is the whole thing, that's the whole human body. That's as simple as it is. Neutrals. You ever seen Spider-Man? Spider-Man doesn't do something else with his hands besides what he does. Because what Spider-Man does with his hands, Marvel's Spider-Man comic character, is he's pointing his pinky fingers straight, the direction his hand is going, which travels straight up to the direction, well, to the position of his shoulder is the point, okay? You ever want to get down in a deep squat or in some Spider-Man type pose? I didn't know I was going to talk about Spider-Man in this, but it's a good visual, something a lot of people have seen. This thing, look at my elbow, fully extended. If I were to try to do it with my wrist out of its only neutral, I couldn't extend my elbow because I'd get binding in parts of my body, okay? So there's only a neutral to the whole human being. There's only one way it could ever work, and it can only ever work activated as a whole. I say often I have problems with specialists. I have many of them, but yeah, I have a problem with people called specialists. I also understand there's wind noise where there is. But the whole thing about specialists and why I have a problem with them, it's nothing to do with me, it's everything to do with something that I didn't decide. We didn't design it, we can't decide it. The human body designed by God, it only works how it does. It could never do anything else. Okay. Specialists will often look at a certain part of the body and try to address it. But the whole body's connected. So usually within the human being, if there's pain, that's not where the problem is. If you have knee pain, it's probably coming from either your feet or your hips. If you have elbow pain, like tricep tendonitis, for example, it's almost certainly coming from your hand or your shoulder, okay? Like I'm saying, I mean, there's only one neutral position for this mechanical machine placed onto this rock in space with a law called gravity that none of us got to decide and none of us have a say over. There's only one way it could ever work, okay? You know, Iron Man, talking about Marvel comics, I do like Marvel. You know how he does this? He like blasts off with his wrists back like this? We'll try to do that with your feet pointed forward your hips even, and your shoulders even, and you're probably kind of like this, with your right arm lower and trying to lift it up, and you can't. Well, it's a mechanical machine, bro. So what you need to be able to do is get your rotations even, okay? We talk about rotations so often under In the Image Clothing Company. I talked about the rotation from the foot to the knee and the hand to the elbow, okay? There's two bones in here rotating over each other like this, okay? As if this is all one arm, okay? But that's happening in each arm. Same thing in the lower leg, two bones. It's just like this, okay? And it's just like this, okay? But then we have hips that have rotations that stem from the foot like this, okay? And like this. Yee! Goodness. There we go. Trying to get my foot up that high. You know, part of that's these pants. They've got a double stitch on the rear, the right side stitched inside, and so it pushes that right side forward. And to lift your left leg up, you have to get your right side back. Yeah, In the Image Clothing Company, that's what I mean, okay? It is clothing. They only fix the human being's physical problems, no joke. So, yeah, see this double stitch? It's going all the way around the crotch. It's just stiffer this way than it is this way. One side just in front, okay? That's a perfect, you know, there's nothing perfect besides our God. That's a great example, though, to have happen in this video that I didn't plan on. Great for you to be able to see, okay? But yeah, and then at the hand, it goes to the shoulder, okay? See where my finger is here on my shoulder? And you follow my pinky finger on the arm that's sticking out, okay? My right arm's rotating in and out. My right pinky finger straight out from the whole arm, and my left index finger here is pointing at my right shoulder. You can see the same thing that's happening at the tip of my pinky is happening at the socket of my shoulder, okay? My arm's locked out, completely fully out. Don't force your body into full extension, but I wanted to show it. Completely into full extension at its endmost range of motion, okay? As opposed to fully closed, contracted at its closed most range of motion, okay? And it's rotating straight out from the pinky. The leg, it rotates essentially just straight out from that pinky toe. This isn't the best way to show it with the camera at chest height and trying to get my leg up there, but yeah, essentially straight out from the pinky toe really is how your leg would rotate, because that's just how the feet work, just like the hands. So there you go. The human body is just a mechanical machine. The spine, it doesn't need to be focused on. If everything else is working fine, all your spine is doing is connecting your hips and your shoulders, okay? But if you've got hip problems or shoulder problems, you got to look at your feet or your hands, okay? It's just a mechanical machine, and it always has to reside in its neutrals, no matter where it is in life, okay? There's only the neutral position, otherwise there's damage, okay? So there you go, a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. That's this title, The Human Body is Just a Mechanical Machine. And I want to make it very clear, like I said, have a specified video, because I say it often and I discuss it as I have here often, because that's just what it is. And so anytime I discuss the human body, but this one's only about that, right? Yeah, as opposed to often we talk about clothing and why it's not allowing the mechanical machine to operate, right? Or operate, right? Okay, keeping short sleeves short, keeping sleeve cuffs off the wrists, keeping shorts off the knees, keeping pant cuffs off the ankles, keeping ropes even, and yeah, right, all the things. Seams behind the shoulders, angles of waistlines higher in the front. But then we get into depth with a lot. So there's the point of this video discussed, which is ideal, right? So if you're gonna have a video at all. Okay, I've never even done one, but I literally thought about doing a wall backflip off this pole. I just kind of felt like maybe. I haven't done any kind of backflip in a long time. Okay, I don't know. It's good. I'm so grateful, I guess is what I'll say, for this discussion as it is. So there you go. Okay, dogs are the same, by the way. We have a whole fourth of our company dedicated to standard size purebred poodles. So that's one of the big reasons why is they're just as well a mechanical machine on a rock in space okay? That's what they are. So we gotta let them stay natural, okay? So thank you. Today's the 28th of June, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Check out the other 3 sides of the company if you'd like to, and stick around. We do a lot of cool stuff. We do things that apply to everybody, okay, in the ways that they apply to you. Anything that we're ever talking about with the human body, yeah, it applies to you, no matter where you are on the earth, who you are, if you're a man or a woman, right? Like I say, where clothing sits, I mention everybody is what I do when I go through those things I say. Okay, yeah, so thank you.